A Christmas Carol, adapted and narrated by Kristen Standage, based on the novel by Charles Dickens. Once upon a time, on a cold Christmas Eve, a money-lender named Ebenezer Scrooge sat in his office counting his vast fortune. Scrooge loved his gold more than anything else in the world, and hated to spend any of it. He would not buy coal for a fire to heat his clerk Bob Cratchit's freezing hands, his nephew Fred a Christmas present, or even donate money to feed hungry children.
If they are going to die, they better hurry up and do it, and decrease the surplus population.
That night, as Scrooge sat alone in his cold, dark chambers, a terrifying sound brought fear to his heart. A ghost, fettered with heavy chains and a face filled with misery, appeared in the room. It was Scrooge's deceased business partner, Jacob Marley.
Jacob, what has happened to you? These are the chains I forged in life.
Jacob explained to Scrooge that as punishment for his greed, he had been condemned to wander the earth, carrying the weight of all he had hurt. Jacob tells Scrooge to change his covetous ways, or he will suffer the same fate. Scrooge tried to sleep, but the night was too quiet, and the warning from his old friend replayed in his mind. Upon hearing a strange musical sound, Scrooge pulled back his bed curtains to find a childlike spirit smiling at him. "I am the ghost of Christmas past. Come with me." Very much afraid, Scrooge hesitated, but the ghost took his hand. Scrooge found himself transported to his own past. He saw himself as an eager schoolboy, a hard-working apprentice, and a man in love with a kind woman named Belle, whose eyes flowed with tears.
Why do you weep, my love?
Because another idol has replaced me in your eyes.
What idol has replaced you?
A golden one. Scrooge wept as he watched his past play out before him, and he comprehended the truth.
Oh, Spirit, I lost the only woman I ever loved, because I love my fortune more.
The spirit returned Scrooge home to his bed, but before he could even close his eyes, a boisterous laughter led Scrooge into the adjoining room.
I am the ghost of Christmas present. Come in and know me better, man.
A jolly green giant told Scrooge to grasp his green fur robe. Scrooge found himself in his nephew Fred's parlor. It was filled with friends celebrating Christmas together. Scrooge loved the warm and happy feeling he experienced and wanted to stay until Fred began mocking him.
His wealth is of no use to him. He don't do any good with it.
Scrooge's face fell as the party laughed at his expense, and he hung his head in embarrassment.
Take me away from here, spirit.
The spirit took Scrooge to Bob Cratchit's home, where Scrooge saw a crippled boy, Tiny Tim, sitting at the dinner table, eating with his family. "A Merry Christmas to us all, and God bless us, everyone!" Scrooge was inspired by the boy's courage and hope, despite his poor health and the crutch he needed to walk.
There is hardly any food at all for that poor boy's dinner. Will he live? If this situation remains unaltered, the child will die.
Scrooge's heart filled with grief, and for the first time in many long years, he felt pity for another. Scrooge wanted to ask the spirit what he could do to help Tiny Tim, but the jolly green giant had vanished. In his place was a dark, hooded figure who stared at Scrooge in silence.
Ah, are you the ghost of Christmases yet to come?
The ghost only nodded. In a moment, they had traveled into the middle of what seemed to be a celebration. A wealthy man had died, and the townspeople were dividing all his money and belongings amongst themselves. They congratulated each other on becoming free from their debts to the rich man.
Spirit, who is the poor man whose death is celebrated in such a way?
The ghost did not answer Scrooge, but instead pointed the way to Bob Cratchit's house. As Scrooge looked through the small frosted window, he saw the family huddled by the fire, tears streaming down their faces. A crutch lay unused in the corner of the room.
Oh no, Spirit. Not Tiny Tim. Please give me some hope that he may live.
Silently, the ghost led Scrooge to a church cemetery and pointed to a nearby grave. With dread in his heart, Scrooge brushed the dirt off the neglected headstone and read his own name. Scrooge lost all sense of time as he thought about Marley, Fred, Belle, Tiny Tim, and his own terrible fate. The spirits had shown Scrooge the truth about the man he had become, and it horrified him. Longing for even a little bit of hope, Scrooge rallied his courage.
Oh, Spirit, I am not the man I was, and I will not be that man again. Tell me that I can change this future by changing the way I live now. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. I will not shut out the lessons I have been taught.
Scrooge woke the next morning in his bed. He felt enlightened, full of energy, and giddy as a schoolboy.
The season to be jolly. La, 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 la.
Hearing Christmas songs being sung outside his window, Scrooge was inspired into action. He bought an enormous turkey for Bob Cratchit, his son Tiny Tim, and their family. He attended his nephew Fred's Christmas party and surprised all the guests with presents. For the rest of his life, Scrooge loved Tiny Tim as his own son, gave generously to the poor, and treated everyone he met with loving kindness.